time came to make that initial decision, I wasn't sure about going the PhD route, and I thought, well, if I want to do research, I can maybe pick that up later. But then, even before I heard back from medical school, I decided to go for the MD PhD program. And after talking to a lot of people, made the decision to apply to the MD PhD program, and realizing that there was just a lot of opportunities with doing that, and being able to get that research training would be a great opportunity to go in whatever direction you want to when you're done. And so got into the program here at Iowa, and decided to stay here. And so and you mentioned the application process. I just tells you how old I am. I filled out my MCAS application on a typewriter. Had to, so maybe you've never seen a typewriter, but having to go.
Oh my
and
God,
you had to put in all your classes. You had to put it in the typewriter, type your class, and they had this great code and whatever. But so we shouldn't have to worry about that.
Oh my God, you don't have to do that, right?
So I made it through that. They must have been able to read my typewritten application. And so got into the program, was still very interested in basic science, molecular biology, and worked in, for my PhD work, was in Scott Moirali's lab in the physiology department, worked with baker's yeast, and we were interested in using that as a model system for understanding how the cell works, and using it also as a model for disease too, specifically understanding a couple of different processes, essentially how the cell either becomes resistant to drugs, because there are certain mechanisms in the cell that are responsible for that. Alternatively, the proteins that we worked on actually were also similar to the protein that's defective in cystic fibrosis, which is a lot of research goes on here at the university in cystic fibrosis, and so we were also using that as a model for a system for understanding that. And so I was interested in that area, not only research-wise, but also clinically. And so when I started, I had planned on going into internal medicine. I was thinking about either going into oncology or infectious disease. And so continued on in graduate school. But then as I got to the end of graduate school, I started thinking, well, maybe I'm not sure that's a specialty that I want to go into. And that's true, I think, for whatever you do in medicine, if you get into medical school. And that's actually a totally separate decision from the decision you make as to choosing what specialty you want to go into. And often you don't think about that as you're getting ready to working on getting into medical school. But that is, and of course you don't have to make that decision right away, as I should tell you more about what happened with me. And so as I got toward the end of graduate school, I started getting more interested in the neurosciences. And I'd always been interested in genetics, and done some genetics work as a graduate student in the model system. But I always had some interest in human genetics, and certainly area of psychiatric genetics is one that there's a lot that we still have yet to understand about that. And so then I made a decision to go into psychiatry as I neared the end of graduate school. And when I started in the program, I never would have thought that wasn't even on my radar for what I was thinking about doing. But that's another nice thing about the MSTP, is that you have time to make those decisions, and you also get exposed to a lot of different things. And I had a chance to work with some clinicians, or sit in with clinicians later in my graduate training, and see what it was like to be a clinical psychiatrist, and that added to my interest in that. And so then I finished my PhD, and then went back to medical school. Like Leslie said, it took about a year to finish medical school. I assume it's still the same now. Before you start graduate school, you do have a summer to do some clinical rotation. Does everybody still do internal medicine? Yeah, so you do get internal medicine out of the way before you start graduate school, and then you have another 2 weeks to do an elective. You can do a 2-week elective in another area. And so then when you go back to medical school, you'll do some of the fourth year rotations, like a sub-internship, which is in a, usually you choose, often it's internal medicine, or you choose a specialty area that you're interested in, and you can spend some more time getting some exposure to that and experience. But then I still recall that last year, there's a lot of surgical rotations in that last year, which actually wasn't, for me, it was, I enjoyed doing those, although I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Getting up super early and going into the OR, but still very, very good experience. And that's, I think, certainly another important thing about medicine. Any advice, there's so many different specialties that I always see there's something for everyone in medicine. You can go into many different kinds of specialties. And then, again, going back to opportunities, the opportunity to integrate that clinical work with research was very appealing to me, and I continued to want to pursue that as I got to the end of the MSTP. So I graduated in 2003, and then came time to pick a residency program or interview for residency, and so I applied to several places around the country, but I ended up interviewing in primarily the Midwest. Decided not to move too far from Iowa. We just had our first child was born. It was actually as I was finishing graduate school and trying to finish my thesis, and had a new baby, but made it through, got everything done. And so we ultimately decided to, although at the time, before that time came to make that decision, we had planned on probably going somewhere else, but then we got closer. After looking around a little bit, we made the decision to stay here. And certainly for me, I felt that there were additional training opportunities here for me, and also a good clinical program in the Department of Psychiatry here. So I matched in psychiatry, and then I did seemed like maybe a little mini medical scientist training. So I did kind of split time in residency. Did clinical work for the first year and a half, and then I started in a lab during my second year of residency. I started working with someone in our department who is a psychiatrist and also does genetics, human genetics research, Tom Wassink. And so I've been working with him and his group for several years now, and actually continuing on working with him even as I've transitioned out of residency. So I finished residency and did a 2-year fellowship. It was a research fellowship that was through our department, and then just this last summer I started on the faculty in the Department of Psychiatry, and so I'm doing, continuing the genetics research that I started on. The areas that I've been focusing on are in autism and schizophrenia.